I don't hear nobody.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I think we still have people coming on, but it is time to start this morning. So I'm going to turn it over to our president, Diana Gardner, to start our annual general membership meeting.
Thank you, Colleen, and welcome everyone. Again, another Zoom meeting. This is also live on Facebook. Appreciate you all taking time out of your day to join us. We have an excellent speaker today who should at least provide us some great insight as to what we're going to do in the next few months. At this time, we have an inspirational message. And in trying to prepare for this today, I thought about just what this year's been like and what we've had to do as realtors to secure transactions, to assist buyers and sellers. And we all have our elevator speeches and our TED Talks, and we're ready to tell people how we're going to negotiate and we're going to get them the best sale, the quickest sale, and the buyers, we're going to find them the dream house. But I thought maybe we should just talk a little bit about the weeds that we deal in every day. And when someone with a little bit of humor, maybe share with your sellers and buyers, you know, why do I need a realtor? Why do I need someone? I can sell it myself. Well, just think about just in your own experiences. How many times did you had to mow the grass for your seller or find somebody to mow it? Buy lunch for the movers? Go to the listing and walk the dogs so the buyers could get in because the sellers are at work and can't get home. How about pulling weeds in the flower bed? That's for Rhonda Twitty. I remember her doing that one day. Place water bottles in the fridge during the hot summer months. Because you know, after touring 5 houses, those buyers, when they get to your house, if they get some water, they're going to remember that you opened the refrigerator and there was some water in there. How about going to the house to tidy up before the unexpected showing because your seller says, yeah, they can come in, but we didn't make beds today. Okay. How about starting a load of laundry? I've done that twice. So you take the boxes from your buyer after they move in and you deliver them to your next seller because the seller can't find any boxes there. How about jump starting your client's car? You're in the middle of Gates County and their car dies. How about buying umbrellas so you could keep continuing the tour even though it's pouring rain and they have only 1 day in town? How about you give wine to everybody in the attorney's office because you finally made it to closing? Remembering your clients' birthdays, anniversaries, their kids' achievements. Buying gas for your client who left their debit card at home. Now, Crystal did this, this actually occurred. My clients locked their keys in their RV and there was just a little tiny window and she had to crawl through that window and get their keys out. And the window was, I wouldn't have made it through it. How about replacing plants when you discover on the walkthrough that your sellers have decided to take some? How about realizing that you have more staging towels in your closet than in your own personal closet? Okay, and I should ask everybody to raise their hands. How many people have emptied a litter box? I should raise 2 hands on that one. And how about battling wasps who decide to just make their wonderful nest in front of that door to that terrific entrance? So again, with a little bit of humor, maybe you can share that beyond the negotiations and the contracts and the advertising and the Facebook ads and all the rest, that sometimes it's a little thing. Make sure that litter box is empty so when they walk in they like it. Kill those wasps so they can open the door. The little things like that. So we just want to sort of just to share a little bit of the look that sometimes we forget of all the things we do that are small, but actually very vital in the whole transaction. All right. On that note, we're going to go ahead and have the Pledge of Allegiance. So Gary Hobbs, would you be kind enough to start us with a Pledge of Allegiance? To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Gary. Okay. All right. Colleen's switching us back. She's trying. All right, we've returned. Thank you. All right. It is a pleasure, and we really are very excited to have with us for our program Dr. Lawrence Yun, who is the Chief Economist and Senior Vice President of Research at the National Association of Realtors. He is responsible for a wide range of research activity for the association, including existing home sales statistics, affordability index, home buyers and home sellers profile, and he regularly provides commentary on real estate trends. His forecasts, he creates the NAR forecasts, and he participates in many economic forecasting panels, among them the Blue Chip Council and the Wall Street Journal Forecasting Survey, the Industrial Economics Discussion Group at the Joint Center for Housing Studies of Harvard University, and he appears regularly on financial outlets and is a frequent speaker at real estate conferences throughout the United States, and he has testified before Congress. He also has appeared as a guest on C-SPAN's Washington Journal. He received his undergraduate degree from Purdue University and his PhD from the University of Maryland at College Park. And I had looked up back in May, Doctor, you had done a presentation about the market update and forecast to the virtual legislative meetings. And in that, it was kind of interesting because you said, before the virus, the current withdrawal of homes on the market is continuing to drive prices up. And it said, what it should be of concern is the continued inventory shortage as we move forward towards the post-pandemic recovery. If you build homes, it will help the economy recover faster. This will be the key to the overall broader economic recovery. And certainly those words ring true as we all scramble with multiple offers and very low inventory throughout our area. So with that, we're going to turn over to you, and you're going to tell us what we need to do, what we should do, and how to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, President Diana, for the introduction. Thank you for having me. I've been to the Outer Banks once, but other nearby counties I have not. I'm sure it's beautiful out there. We are here in the middle of October, and as Diana mentioned, the housing market is doing quite well. Multiple offers are headaches because multiple offers means there are multiple losers where you have to start all over again. So we certainly need that inventory. But let's dial back to the beginning of the pandemic. It was in the mid-March. I clearly remember because I was looking forward to watching the March Madness college basketball tournament, but it did not happen. So that's my timeline as to when we had the pandemic. And the first few weeks, quite a scary times. First, we didn't know about the nature of the virus. We see television imageries coming out of China in hospital bed, doctors dying. And then going to Italy, we see images, of people falling there. So we really did not know that if we touch a doorknob and accidentally touch our face, is that a death sentence? Now we have more understanding that social distancing, mask on, it could be, greatly reduce the transmission. The other scary point back in March was the business activity. With everyone forced to stay home, how are you going to earn your income? Because you have your own personal finances to take care of, your personal mortgage to take care of. So it's very scary times. But here we are in October, and we are finding that the market is surprisingly doing well. And through the disruption, I think most people came out of the disruption very even, meaning that there was no major disruption to say missing mortgage payments or anything like that. And let me try to explain how we went through this process and where you can anticipate going forward. So I'm going to put the PowerPoint on the screen. As an economist, I speak better with slides. So let me get that up now. Okay, here we are. So let me first start with the economic collapse. The GDP is a measurement of total activity in the US, you can say total income generation. And it was an off the chart collapse, as you can see in the second quarter. Never in the US history have we seen any type of collapse of this nature. The upcoming data for the third quarter, which will be out at the end of this month, will show off the chart positive number because many economic activity is now taking place, and like going to the restaurants, people are going to the shops, even air travel is being done. So you will be off the chart positive. That data will come out 2 or 3 days before the US election. Whether it makes any impact on the voting decision, people said there's only 1 or 2% of the population undecided. So it's unclear as to whether or not it would make. But the next data that will come out will be off the chart positive. But because we went through this collapse, the Federal Reserve went through something called maximum liquidity policy. What you see on the graph is the interest rate they charge to the banks. And since the interest rate is essentially zero for the banks, the mortgage rate has fallen to all-time low. That is why you are seeing such a strong stimulative demand for housing because of the maximum liquidity policy in place. In addition, the fiscal policy, that is Congress and the White House, also decided to go all in. It blew out the federal budget deficit. Deficit is running just way, way too high. But at the time, it was a bipartisan. In Washington, D.C., bipartisan is a negative word now, but the stimulus was passed bipartisan to say, let's fix the economy and worry about budget deficit in future years. Let's not worry about the deficit. So the stimulus check, the $1,200, if you remember, also the unemployment insurance, which was enhanced benefit, that provided support. Like President Diana Gardner, working through the local association president, state president, NAR, all have been engaged trying to say that the realtors for the first time ever should qualify for unemployment insurance because it was not fault of the realtors as to why the economy went down. They were working hard and suddenly they are without income, so they should be able to tap into it. And hopefully some of you were able to tap into unemployment resources during those few months of the disruption. The other was the Small Business Administration loans. For many brokerages where you apply, you got the money, you meet certain criteria like paying rents, paying salaries, that the loan is forgiven. So massive stimulus into the economy from the trying to resuscitate the economy. Let me turn to 2 states that is not North Carolina and non-economic data, because these 2 states are most contrasting, Utah and New York. What the data that you see on the screen is GPS mobility. We all have a cell phone. If we are staying at home, it shows no mobility. But if we are driving and moving out, it shows mobility. So what this chart shows, before the pandemic is a reference line of 0. Then we had the lockdown. And New York, the red color, went down much more because Governor Cuomo said he wants to vanquish the virus. New York had a strong flare up at the beginning, but he really wanted to assure that virus does not spread. So he had the longer lockdown and a very strict lockdown. While in Utah, they decided to reopen its economy sooner and in a more relaxing way. So you see the mobility is more in Utah versus New York. What's happening to coronavirus today? Utah is hitting a high mark in terms of number of new cases. Fortunately, number of death cases are much lower because somehow the medical advances, people know how to treat it a little better. While in New York, the number of coronavirus cases appear to be very contained. So in this sense, you may say New York made the right decision to contain the virus, while Utah, they're seeing high number of cases. But that's not the full story, because full story comes in the next chart. The unemployment rate. In Utah, because people can go out and about, the unemployment rate has pretty much come back down to normal at 4%. While in New York, unemployment rate is at 12%. It's been consistently at double-digit percentage rate for a long period. So it's coming at a huge economic cost. In fact, many restaurant owners in New York City are saying they may permanently shut down forever if they cannot operate under normal conditions. So it's a trade-off, not to say which one policy is better than other, but just to illustrate that there are trade-offs that many governors need to decide. Let's now go to North Carolina. So in North Carolina, unemployment rate of 6.5% is below the national average. So in that sense, I guess there was a little more mobility going on in North Carolina. I know there are a few major cities like Charlotte, Raleigh, where they may have a little different policy, but North Carolina is fairly many small towns stretched out over this long distance spanning. I remember going to Murphy, North Carolina, which borders Tennessee. I think that they mentioned something like it takes 10 hours to go to Outer Banks from there, just driving. That's how big your state is horizontally. But you also see some states have high unemployment rate like Pennsylvania, Illinois, California, all with stricter lockdown, while low unemployment in South Dakota, Utah. Interestingly, all 50 states had low unemployment rate before the pandemic, very similar number, very low. But now in October, all the numbers are varying. Some have high number, others have low number. So everything changing. So North Carolina right now is doing better than the rest of the country in terms of unemployment. Let's look at the jobs picture. This is a total jobs in the US over the past 20 years. If you look in the middle of the chart, that is an artificial boom that occurred during the subprime lending days. For realtors who were in the business at that time, you remember those easy loans, no income documentation that overstretched people's budget. And what do you know? We suffer the consequence, implosion in the mortgages, foreclosure crisis, we lost jobs. But from the low point of 2010, America experienced the longest economic expansion ever. 10 straight years of job creation. Then in a single month in April of this year, we lost all that jobs. Let's consider 10 years of job creation gone in a single month. But you see on the latest data point, as the economies are reopening, the jobs are being created, but we are not back to normal. We are only halfway back to normal. So we need another 10 million jobs to get us back to where we need to be. Let's look at the condition in the counties of Camden, Chowan. I'm going to mispronounce, but you see it, the counties in your areas. So what the job market situation looks like is it's been fairly flat over the past 20 years. So a little decline in the middle of the decade, and then you see some increases, part of the 10-year job creation, and then we hit April, shut down, you are down. So in a sense, it's been a very stable employment condition, not really a growth in the counties that you see in the local area. Maybe it's part of that small town, rural community where you are not really seeing activity. Strong job creation in Raleigh Triangle region, strong job creation in Charlotte. But many smaller towns, we have not seen a job creation, so fairly steady with some slight swings in the region. Let's look at where the job losses have occurred. It's in the hotel industry, restaurants. So especially in the Outer Banks where you are catering to tourists, without the tourists, it will really harm the industry. The home construction industry has been holding on, while the office occupation like finance and insurance is actually creating jobs. And if you look at the weekly earnings on the right-hand side, the job losses are principally occurring in the lower wage industry. So people on the lower wage are really suffering, while people with a higher income, they're holding on reasonably well. So when the mortgage rates are low, you are seeing people on the middle income and higher income trying to take advantage of the low rates, while people who lost job, they're not in the market. But even if we didn't have a pandemic, generally, people working in the restaurant industry, they will be renters trying to save up to make some progress in their life. But people who are in the position to buy a home, their jobs have been holding on reasonably well, and they are trying to take advantage of the low interest rates. Personal income during the pandemic actually grew faster than under normal circumstances. Usually people's income would rise 3 or 4% each year, but during the pandemic, income actually grew about 10%. So you say, why is this? Remember, the stimulus check that provided the help. Also say someone working at a restaurant, they lost a job, they file for unemployment insurance, and the unemployment check is actually higher than the wages they were receiving at a restaurant. So all this income support provided a higher level of overall income for most people during the pandemic. What are people doing with this extra income? They're not spending because restaurants are closed or half open. People are not traveling as much. So people are not spending as much, which hints at once the vaccine is discovered, and we know a vaccine will be discovered. American ingenuity, we're gonna discover the vaccine, whether later this year or middle of next year, we will have the vaccine. Once the vaccine is discovered, you can anticipate some unleashing of spending power. People have saved up their stimulus money, and once the vaccine is discovered, that spending will really go into the economy and help the economy recover. But in the recent months, let's look at where people are spending and not spending. People are spending more money at the beer, wine, liquor stores. So you may say, well, maybe people are sad and they are trying to drown out their sorrow. And the answer is more of the case that they cannot drink at bars and restaurants, so they're drinking at home. Online shopping, we know that is up. Maybe you did not know that it was up 20%. People are stuck at home. They're doing more home remodeling and gardening. Home Depot CEO has indicated his revenue growth in Home Depot amazingly high as people are spending more for their homes. People are also bored, so they're buying bicycles or video games, so that is up, but not driving as much, not going to the restaurants. And also, I'm near Washington, D.C. People do not need to go into offices. Why do you need new clothes to impress people? And somehow all this souvenir activity is down because people are not doing tourism. And even graduation gift. If it's an in-person graduation, maybe the family members provide more substantial gift. But online graduation, they're just sending a card. So all that souvenir spending is really down. So little variation currently as to where people are spending and not spending. What about rent? Rents are still being paid for the most part. So back in 2019, when the economy was good, 90% of the tenants paid rents on time. During the pandemic month, the figure was 88%. And many apartment owners will say they are quite pleased, even in an environment of high unemployment, rents still is holding on. But there are question marks about what may happen in the upcoming months, because unemployment check is now much lower than what it had been. So maybe some people will struggle to pay rents. Right now, the President Trump and Speaker Nancy Pelosi, they're trying to negotiate on what the next stimulus package is. Nancy Pelosi is saying we need to provide generous unemployment insurance like before, so that people can make rent, people can buy food. While President Trump is saying if we provide a generous benefit, no one wants to come back to work. So what is the right amount? So they're debating over that issue at the moment. But so far, rents have been paying reasonably on time. Home sales is a very positive news. So you see the initial decline during the pandemic months, but now home sales up 10% higher compared to last summer. Quite amazing. People wanting to take advantage of the low mortgage rates. New home sales are up 44% from 1 year ago. So if you own a land, consider that there may be home builders interested in your land to convert it into a developable lot and then build a home, because whatever the builders build, they can easily find a buyer. New home sales up 44%. Pending contracts, record high, implying that this autumn will be one of the strongest autumn home sale season ever that you will encounter, given the high pending contracts. Even better news, what do realtors say to their clients to demonstrate seriousness? Get a mortgage approval. So what are consumers doing? They're applying for mortgages to buy a home, up 20 or 30% higher from 1 year before, depending upon which week you are looking at. So there are plenty of potential buyers in the pipeline. By the way, this graph is only for home buying mortgages, not refinance. I hope many of you already took advantage of the refinance, but just looking at home buying mortgage, it is up. Buyers in the pipeline. This winter will be one of the best winter for home sales ever, based on the number of people in the pipeline. So very, very good condition in the housing. But the constraining factor is lack of inventory. As President Diana mentioned, multiple offers occurring because of lack of inventory. So we need to have more inventory to assure that there is a steady balance of the market. Right now, we have too many buyers, not enough supply. So we need to build more homes, and move people into construction. Maybe people lost job in hotel and restaurant that can go into construction because it actually pays more in construction industry than in the restaurant industry. One of the trends we observe also during the pandemic is that preference for suburbs, rural area, and small town, which means that you will actually benefit in your local area, given that you are a rural area, smaller town communities, away from city centers. Recreational area should be less than 10%, but now showing 13%. So people who are selling homes out in the beach, maybe you get a greater increase. So why is this happening? And the reason why it's happening is that work from home phenomena, I think, will be quite permanent even after the vaccine discovery. People who used to work at office have demonstrated they can be equally productive working from home. So I think many companies will permit work from home flexibility. In fact, many technology companies like Twitter has announced to their employees, you can work from home forever. Facebook believes half of their employees could work from home forever. If that's the case, why have a small townhouse that costs almost $2 million in San Francisco, and why not buy a mansion out in North Carolina? So if you can work from home, you may begin to see many trends. So even from, say, people from Washington, Baltimore, New York, saying, why don't I work from home? Because out in North Carolina, again, more affordable, and they can buy larger size homes. So we'll see how this plays out, but I think this will be one of the developing trends. By the way, the number add up to 100% because we permitted the realtors to indicate, more than one choices if their client actually said they're looking at two areas seriously, but it's away from city centers and going into more smaller town suburbs from work from home phenomena. Vacation home sales up more strongly than normal home sales. Why? Same reason. Work from home can be work from vacation home. So why not do that? So especially people in their 50s who are planning on retiring and maybe going to the southern states, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, they said, well, why don't I move there now and just work from vacation home? So vacation home sales running faster than normal home sales. So the bottom line is housing market has been one surprising positive sector during this current pandemic. Home sales, we missed the spring buying season, but the second half of the year is so strong that we are going to come out even compared to 2019. 2021, we're going to get even better home sales because I think people are still digesting this work from home. So some people who are, say, living in Raleigh and still working from home, but only later they discover that, yeah, I can buy much larger house just driving, 1 or 2 hours away from Raleigh. So you may begin to see extra second order housing demand that arises in the upcoming years, and home prices in no danger of declining. Many people have indicated that I am too conservative in home price forecasts. People think their home prices are rising 5%, 7%, even 10% in their local markets because housing demand has been exceptionally strong. So thank you for listening. Thanks for inviting. And I am now going to turn it back to either Carlene or Diana.
Thank you, this Diana. Do you have time for a few questions?
Yeah, sure. I will take a few questions.
All right. Well, I'm going to start in our market. And across the board, we are seeing a rise in material costs for new home construction. So can you comment a little bit, because we're seeing land prices very low, affordable, very viable, but the hesitancy because the cost of new construction is so high with the recent increase in building materials. So can you address that for us a little bit?
The lumber prices have tripled from the beginning of the year. So any major material cost that triples is a very concern. The wildfires out in the West has contributed, but also many Canadian lumbers has that extra tariff, which makes them more expensive. So one of the way to reduce the lumber and other material costs is any imported items. Can we have a temporary reduction in tariff so that builders would have more access? I know it's a trade-off. I know President Trump wants to save U.S. jobs, but also home building. If we build more through lower material costs, it creates jobs, particularly at the local levels. So those are the trade-off that needs to be considered. But right now, the material costs are very expensive, and also construction worker availability. Many home builders are having a hard time finding skilled construction workers. So some kind of vocational training, either high school graduates or people who have lost job in the restaurant industry to go into vocational training, to go into construction, and that will facilitate. But right now, the material costs are a challenge, even though there's a strong buying demand for housing.
Thank you. Does anyone else have a question? If they raise their thumb, or unmute themselves. Okay. Any others?
There aren't
Stacy
any.
White. Who's that? We have Colleen. Did you see someone? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Well, again, we do appreciate taking time out of your schedule. We know that you're in a big demand with this current thing, but it was a rather positive message. So it looks like we're going to be working hard through the holidays if your predictions are correct as they've been in the past. So again, come visit us. I know you said you went to the Outer Banks, but come to our little area of the world. We've got wonderful bed and breakfast, and we can show you a great time, and we'd love to entertain you at some point in the future.
Great. Thank you, Diana, and thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm going to have to drop off right now, but everyone have a wonderful day, and best of luck in your business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Colleen, has Maurice Brown, he's not showing on my screen. Is Maurice here?
He is here. Maurice is here.
All right. Maurice Brown, who is the Realtor Partner Program Coordinator, wanted to speak to us for a little bit. So I will turn it over to Maurice, wherever you are.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Maurice.
Hey, I think it's
Hey.
afternoon now. So good afternoon, everybody. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Everybody's being safe. It's good to see some of you guys smiling faces. I hope you like my background. I had to pick something that was relative to the area. So hopefully it's makes everybody feel good and warm and fuzzy and fall-like. So, but for those of you that I have not had a chance to meet or connect with, my name is Maurice Brown. I'm with your state association, North Carolina Association of Realtors, and I am the partner program coordinator. And part of my responsibility is to make sure that we vet and bring in partners that save you money, and they produce non-dues revenue back to your local association based on how much you use them. Now, I know you guys are always busy, but it's always great to be able to connect with you guys a little bit to share that there are certain partners that can save you money that you can use on a day-to-day basis. They can make life easier. And so since we have so many partners right now, I'm only going to highlight a handful of them and tell you how to get access to them. One of the things I will do is that the partners that I speak about today, I will put their information in the chat section for you, and you can kind of review it as needed, and you can catch up with the rest of the partners on the website. So the first partner I'm going to talk about is Agent Icon. Very popular partner because everyone's using digital platform to connect with clients, to build a persona. People buy from people they like and from people they feel like they know. And it's a great way to build your resume online through social media, where clients can get to know you, and current clients can offer a referral or at least reach back out to you. So Agent Icon provides free content in the form of an email Monday through Friday. You get an image of the day, and you get access to a gallery of images. It also gives you an article on current realtor information, and then you get what they call a feel-good article, where it kind of tugs on the heartstrings a little bit, and it's in the community, talks about what's going on, and it kind of helps you build your persona. You can have branded or unbranded content. All you have to do is basically sign up for the email, you start receiving it, and then you can kind of use some of those images. Once you sign up for it, if you're not using it now, you'll start to recognize that some of your colleagues around the state have already been using the product. You'll be like, I remember that image. But it's a great product to use, so I definitely encourage you guys to use it. Again, there's no cost to it. They do have an accelerated product where they can schedule the post for you based on what type of content you're trying to provide, and that does have a cost, but the initial product is free. Second partner I want to talk about is Office Depot. Everybody has office supplies, cleaning supplies. I found that they have had Lysol when nobody else has had it during the pandemic, because some people never viewed them as a cleaning products company. And so you can definitely take advantage of the services that they offer. They ship next day for free. As long as your order is over $50, you order 2 printer cartridges and you are already at $50 even with the discount. But a lot of people will order bottled water, they will order coffee, paper products, things of that nature. So as you move throughout your business and you think about your business needs and products, office furniture, computer needs, think Office Depot, and then you can compare and see if you have some savings. So I'm gonna put in the chat where you can text NCAR card to a number, and you will get your digital pocket card back to your phone. Screenshot that. If you happen to be in the store, you can use it, or you can use the card online and shop. They do have 2 different websites, one where there is retail purchasing, and those prices are based for the general public, and then they have an online business website, and those prices are based on people buying from a business standpoint, and the pricing is a little bit more favorable. All right. And the third partner I'm going to talk about is Paperless Agent. And Paperless Agent is where we talked about social media a moment ago. Bi-weekly free training where you can learn about how to use Instagram, Facebook, certain marketing techniques as how they relate to a realtor perspective. You're talking about roughly 25 years of realtor experience and about 15, 16 years of social media experience, but about 25 years total of marketing experience. They talk about the best way for you to connect with clients in social media areas, what areas may be important to the people that may be shopping in your area, and a way to present that in a way that best benefits your target market of people that you're trying to connect with. Sometimes we spend marketing, or we spend time trying to market to a broad spectrum, and sometimes it's almost like a shotgun effect. You may hit or miss, and they help with, for free, every 2 weeks, how you can kind of customize your message, make it your own, and connect with folks to save you a ton of money. So I'm gonna put the link in so you can sign up for that whenever you like to. They'll send you an email when the next one is coming up, and you can pretty much go on a regular basis. They also have a YouTube channel, which offers a ton of free content, marketing schedules. Sometimes we think about, and I'll use this point and then I'll kind of wrap it up, but most of the time we think about marketing during the times where it's most convenient for us. But that may not necessarily be when our clients or potential clients may be out and about. We market, oh, it's lunchtime, let me market. But those people may be scrambling from their 9 to 5 to eat. So the best time to market for you and your business may be in the evening where they're getting home and they're settling down. And you may want to schedule a post or some type of marketing piece that will be during the time where you're most likely to get the most results. So that's just a tip that they share on a regular basis and something that's beneficial to you guys. You can always catch up with any of the partners. We're constantly adding new partners, and we've always taken suggestions of potential partners that can cover the entire state. But as long as you go to your website, www.ncrealtors.org/save, and I'll put it in the chat, then you can always catch up with any of the partners that we have. You can access any of them to learn more about them. We just added Safe Showings as a partner recently. The safety app is extremely, safety has always been at the forefront of the association. We just wanted to make sure we found a partner that worked well and had a product that was proactive, and that product has been, we really, really like it. And it was actually coming from the suggestion of you guys that got it on board. So I'm excited that we were able to get it done for the state and for you guys as well. And for the cost of Starbucks coffee per month, you can have a product that you can use to keep you safe while you're out and about. So I'll add the comments, the stuff in the chat. But if you have any questions, I am always available. I'll also put my email down there. You can ask me any questions that you may have. Anybody got any questions? Any questions? Questions? No questions? I do have coffee though.
Okay. Thank you, Maurice. We appreciate it. And again, he just highlighted a few. There is a wide number of various vendors and services with discounts. And if you check it out, you'll be amazed. I mean, everything from insurance, magazines, a whole spectrum of there. All right. So again, thank you, Marisa. We appreciate you joining us today. Our next item on our agenda here will be the approval of the minutes. Now, of course, these are the minutes from October 2019, the last minute there. And I believe Colleen, when she had sent out the email, had attached those minutes to it. So I'll give them a minute or two for people just to, if you've got them, to look at them. And then I will entertain a motion regarding approval of those minutes. Again, these are the minutes from the October 2019 annual meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes.
All right, I have a motion. I need a second, please, to approve the minutes as submitted. Phyllis, are you seconding that?
I second the motion.
Thank you. Okay. Any discussion, any comments? It was a long time ago in a land far away. All right. So we do need to take a vote, and Colleen, my thought is in the past we just do thumbs up for those who say yay, and you visually will see that. Okay, so if the motion was to approve the minutes as presented from the October 2019 annual meeting, if you're in favor of it, please raise your thumb. Crystal has gone, okay, thumb yes, we got yes. How about Jonathan? Yes, yes, okay. All right, all right. Any nays? No nays? Okay, and no abstentions. All right, then the minutes are approved as presented. Thank you. All right, the next thing we have coming up are the committee reports, and we're going to turn to Stacy White for an RPAC update. Okay, so Stacy, your turn.
Hey everybody. So the first thing I just want to say, this year has been so completely crazy and different. Our goal this year was $6,251. And even without being able to touch and feel and see each other and come together and do all the things that we usually did, we knocked it out of the park. We hit our goal by 148% so far, because we're not done yet. At this point, we have raised $9,309.08. So as much as I want to say thanks to everybody, that is so amazing, I also do not feel bad coming to you and asking for money, because we're not done. We have had 159 folks so far to contribute. So there's still a lot of people that have not paid their fair share. We do want to recognize that 46% of our membership have donated to RPAC. Our goal on that is 35%. So we thank all those that have stood up and done their part. With that being said, that means 54% of our membership have not given to RPAC. And if I can't stress to you enough that our dollars are very important. They go a long ways. There is nothing that's ever done with our money that isn't something that completely protects homeownership, private property rights in our industry as a whole, whether it's trying to help us get good affordable insurance or whether it's trying to make our jobs easier with things like the database for private maintained roads. So there's always something that's on the chopping block. Sometimes it's us trying to put a service tax on our fees, and that's the worst thing that we could do, is to cost more money, because then people are going to find more and more ways not to use us. So please give. I would like to also say that we have 18 members that this year are Cardinal Club members. That means they've given at least $100. We have 3 members that are Capital Club members. That means they've given at least $250. We have 1 Governor's Club member that is a 500 plus donation, and then we have 2 major investors. Those are Sterling Ours, and they've given at least $1,000. So thank all of our contributors, and again, please don't stop. I know this year is different. We haven't had our town hall where we could bring our folks in and we could ask questions. We haven't been able to have some of the really great things where we all get together and share our ideas and do things, but I promise you that doesn't mean that it's not needed and that they're not there and they're not working for us. So just know that anything that has to do with our industry, again, RPAC is bipartisan. It doesn't go red or blue. It's totally purple. It's everybody in between mixed up, and it only is for the benefit of the real estate industry. So please continue to get our numbers up. We will take your donations at any time to the board office. Call them. They can do it on a credit card. The raffle was super fun this year, and we'll probably do that again. And so again, thank everybody for your hard work, but please don't stop. We need more.
Well, especially thank you, Stacy, for your hard work. And I know that you and Judith were making calls to people, etc. And one thing, Stacy did mention the database for private roads, which is really important when we're listing and selling. The other thing I think we all need to remember is that we were deemed essential workers this time. That was not possible for many other occupations. So we really need to keep that in front, make sure that we are deemed as essential. I mean, the virus is still here. We've got an election coming up. We don't know what's going to happen next year. So RPAC is very important to us, to our occupation, to us, to our families. So again, thank you very much. And if you it's a great organization on that. So again, thank you to that. All right, our next committee report will be from Carrie, which is on education, please.
Hey everybody. I was just letting everybody know we still have openings in some of the classes coming up. We have the Gen Up and the Bic Up coming up October 28th. We still have openings. Remember, this is free. We all like free things. My baby's having a heart attack, so ignore him. But we also have the Financing Dreams, November 18th as well. You can register for the events through the association events calendar and Navica, guys, okay? So we do have openings. Please get signed up for that and take a look at those and get signed up so that we can have, full class. We're offering it to you guys free, okay? And I'm taking numbers for babysitters. 2021, I'll take some numbers. Thank you.
Donnie, you're muted. We can't hear you.
I'm muted. Okay, I'm unmuted now. All right, sorry. I was just thanking Carrie and just saying that again, we all have dogs, husbands, children, wives. If something gets in, that's part of Zoom. The other important thing, kind of remember, somebody asked why the classes were free. This year, due to the virus, I did not travel, Colleen did not travel, Terry Wilson as president-elect did not travel, so our travel budget was in place but not utilized. So we thought the best thing to do is to give back to the members. So again, this is a great opportunity. You've got free the updates and an elective, and so do take advantage of it. And our association may be all finished up before that magic June number next year. All right, the next thing, we have announcements. A major announcement, the election results will be emailed this afternoon, so you'll check your email for those results. There's also going to be a blood drive this October 26th, and so there are still, according to Colleen, a few spots available and really needed at this time. So we want to be sure, if you can possibly do it, or even if you know someone else who is a blood donor who hasn't done lately, you can advise them of it. It will be at the office, at the AAR office. All right, Colleen, is there anything else we've missed as far as announcements?
I don't believe so. One thing I did want to say about the Gen Up and the Bic Up, everyone who has already signed up for those should have gotten an email from me asking you for some paperwork and to register for those, for the Zoom link. So if you've already gotten that email, please send that back to me. If you already took the class in September, you don't have to resend that paperwork again. I've already got it on file for you. But if this is the first one you've taken for us through Zoom, then I've sent you an email last week asking for some paperwork. I haven't gotten a lot of responses, so if I could get that back, it makes it much easier, smoother on our end when the class starts next week.
Okay, Colleen, what previous class are you referring to that they took?
So we had Clash of Clans in September. Okay. So if you took that, I've already got your paperwork. I didn't send you an email asking for that paperwork to be sent again. But if you hadn't taken that class, then I sent an email requesting a copy of your pocket card and a copy of a signed agreement saying that that you have to have a camera, you have to have a microphone, you're going to be online. We can't give you credit unless you're on there for 90% of the time. That type of thing.
All right. Well, thank you, Colleen. That I think actually concludes everything here. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining and taking time out of your schedule here for this. Maybe next year we eventually will have a meeting in person. I sure do miss just the conversations you have before and after a meeting, and so it's really good to see it. But it's good to see so many faces here. And with that, we'll oh, hi, Phyllis. Are you downstairs? I'm seeing people here. All right, we'll conclude the meeting now, and all of you have a good day and take care. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.